In a major surprise, the Legion of Doom dropped the WWF Tag Team titles on Friday night, 2/7, in Denver to Ted DiBiase and IRS. While it was somewhat well known on the inside that there would be a title switch involving the two teams before WrestleMania, the fact that it happened so abruptly appears to have been a last-minute decision. So at this point, Ted, your team with IRS hadn't even debuted on TV yet, and you're winning the tag team titles at a house show with very little fanfare and no acknowledgement on TV right away, just due to the filming timing of everything. Hawk of the Road Warriors was suspended shortly hereafter. Do you remember if his issues behind the scenes would have led to such an abrupt change here?
Well, and I think they did. And again, Hawk was a great guy. I mean, he's like a little kid, like a little kid who never who never wants to grow up. Uh, he was really good in the ring, but he Hawk had his demons, and we all do. So there's and but as far as working with him, and Animal was more of the. I mean, he was the Animal was the guy that was going to have to keep Hawk in line.
Mm.
Yeah, Animal was the stable partner, and it just um, yeah, Hawk went off the deep end.
Yeah, Jake mentioned on our podcast recently, the Snake Pit, that Hawk was really struggling with addiction by the time his first WWF run came to be.
Yeah,
Do you remember seeing any of those issues firsthand?
not firsthand, but we all knew it. You
Mm.
know.
Man, it's a shame. Such a talented guy, such a great tag team. I mean, despite the issues that they were having, they're the Legion of Doom. They're one of the most over tag teams ever. What did you think of getting to work with these guys?
Oh gosh, we loved working with them. It's kind of like, and that was just it. I mean, they wouldn't have been in the position they were in if they didn't have a strong presence and a way to get over. And so, working with them was not that, you know, not that hard. And they had been heels, and now with you're working with me and Mike Sunday, you're a baby face, and I can't ever, again, memory. I can't ever remember if they were, did they show up as heels or did they show up as baby faces?
I want to say that they showed up as baby faces, but I don't know that definitively. I wasn't watching at the time. I know that they were programmed right away with Demolition when they came in, and I feel like Demolition would have been heels.
Yeah, you're right.
Um,
I remember that now. Thank you.
Yes.
and what a cool entrance that they had. They rode the motorcycles down to the ring, and they were just super over in front of that Wembley crowd, and
Yeah.
the crowd went berserk there at the end. Do you have any memories of the match?
Not really. I mean, I just, Hawk and Animal have always been friends. Never had any issues with them. I mean, it's kind of like I always told everybody. I said, don't let Hawk. I mean, he's a real nice guy, but if you ever had to walk down a dark alley, like say in New York City at sometime in the early hours of the morning, uh, if you could only have one guy walk with you, it might be Mike Hagstrom because he was legit. He was a go getter. He could, but I mean, sweetest guy you'd ever know.
Yeah, he was a bad dude, and
Yeah, and again, but again, it was up to Animal, and I kind of felt sorry for Joe sometimes because he had to keep Mike's oars in the water, and so anyway.
man, we hear about that all the time where Animal was really kind of all in on this thing and wanted to kind of squeeze all the juice he possibly could out of the gimmick, especially here, on the biggest stage in professional wrestling. And what's interesting now, Ted, is the real story is what happens after this match. All that hype, all the fan reaction, a giant victory at SummerSlam, and suddenly it's just over for the Road Warriors. We've
Well,
got this. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, and well, and that was the other thing is, like I said, poor Joe was responsible, and had to be responsible for Mike, and I mean, and you know, we went on second because Joe realized Mike had taken something, and he went to Vince and he said, Vince, he says, I don't know if he'll be conscious you know, by the
Man.
time we get to our match. You know, that was the other thing in play there. So yeah, you know, Mike had a serious drug problem.
So I had never heard that, so that's interesting. He was under the influence while he was in the ring with you guys.
Well, yeah, but it's kind of like it, you know, hadn't really had the opportunity to take effect.
Oh, okay. It hadn't kicked in yet.
That's why Joe went to Vince and he said, you know, I don't think he'll, you know, I just he's not going to be. I don't know about not. I don't know if it's like not conscious, but he might not be
Functioning.
functioning well. So and you know, and rightfully so, it pissed Vince off, and that's why we went on. We went on second.
Absolutely. And look, after the show, things go from bad to worse. We've got this from the Observer from September 7th. Hawk quit the WWF after SummerSlam, and Animal is staying and will be repackaged as a singles wrestler.
Yeah.
Officially, both Hawk and Berserker John Nord disappeared after the show in England, didn't fly back with everyone else, and didn't show up at television, leaving no word. Both were suspended for 6 weeks, but word has it that Hawk is fed up and he's not going back. Ted, do you remember any of this drama?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And you know, it's I'm sorry, but Mike was like he was like being a big baby.
Hmm.
I mean, you know, it's like again, I felt sorry for Joe for Animal because I mean, here's a guy that's trying to do it right, and you know, he's got a partner who basically is a nice guy, but just he doesn't have both his oars in the water. And again, when you're somebody dealing with a drug addiction, you know, you got to you got to get rid of it. You got to make a choice. It's either the drugs or your career.
Yeah, unfortunately, Hawk is really putting Joe in a bad position
Yeah,
here.
it was really. I felt sorry for Joe.
It's tough, and there was so much meat left on the bone for them
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
WWF, and it's just all of a sudden I know that
boom,
Joe doesn't last much longer after this either, and it's just boom, gone.
yeah,
So frustrating. And speaking of frustrating, I mean, you just put them over in front of this incredible crowd, and now it's kind of all for nothing because they're gone. I mean,
yeah.
afterwards, are you like, what the hell? Like, are you pissed off?
Well, yeah, kind of. It's like okay, you know, we just put these guys over, and for what? Yeah.
Yeah. End of the day, there was no reason for it now. So frustrating.
And
And
again, that's I mean, you can't blame the only one to blame is Mike.
yeah,
You know, it's like it wasn't Vince's doing, and Vince was he was hot, and
hard.
rightfully so. He was mad, real mad.